BioMutant is a game that was first revealed in 2017 as THQ Nordic's post-apocalyptic kung fu fable that lets you combine mutant powers, bionics, and weapons in an original open-world action RPG. Now, the original planned release date was for 2018. Eventually, that got pushed to 2019, and then 2019 came and went, and we're here in 2020 with no new gameplay or trailers or major updates. That was until February when the official BioMutant Twitter account posted an update saying that they were still working hard to make this the best game it can be. They're completing the final stages of its development, and they don't have a set release date, and they won't until they feel confident that they can hit it, because, you know, they've already missed 2 years of release date targets in a row, so they don't want to do it a third time. Funny enough, too, if you head on over to the developer's very own website, it still says that the game's launching in 2019, so clearly they haven't checked out their site in a while, but hey, that's a good thing, right? Maybe that just means they're focused on actually delivering the game. Since that Twitter post this February, things went quiet again. Several months have passed, and we hadn't heard or seen anything else up until this week, when we got some major updates through an interview with IGN during their Summer of Gaming event, as well as getting nearly 10 minutes of brand new gameplay earlier today. So in this video, I want to talk about everything that we know about the game, all of the new info we got from that interview and the gameplay trailer, and just like, what's the deal with BioMutant? Are we going to see it this year? Before we jump into any of that though, sit tight for a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is being sponsored by Raycon. They recently sent me their everyday E25 earbuds, which they're calling their best model yet. It's got 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a compact design for a nice noise isolating fit. It might not be surprising to most of you that I don't leave the house very often, but when I am at home cooking or doing chores, or if I go for a jog, I really like listening to podcasts, and I've enjoyed using Raycon's cordless Bluetooth earbuds to do just that. It's got great sound quality, comparable to any of the other top audio brands that I've used in the past. One of the major features of the Raycon earbuds is that they start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, making them a good affordable option for listening to music and podcast if you're working from home or working out or on the bus or whatever. If you want to check these out, go to buyraycon.com/force for 15% off your order, or just click on the link in the description below. Okay, so before we dive into all the new details, let's just do a basic overview of like what BioMutant is. Again, this is an open world kung fu action RPG. The game had you playing as this like raccoon, squirrel, panda, rodent combination hybrid. It's got this martial arts combat that is aimed at delivering freedom of movement with the mixing of shooting, melee, and mutant power abilities. You'll be unlocking new combat styles as you progress through the game, learning from wushu masters. You can change your character's abilities and appearance with these powerful mutations and bionic prosthetics and weapons, like you can grow claws and sprout wings or attach robotic legs, and the choices you make will have direct impact on the way the hero plays. There are also these psi mutations in this game, like telekinesis and levitation. There's a crafting system that lets you mix and match parts to build countless variations. There's special gear and equipment that you'll need to combat the game's various elements, and all of this is set in a post-apocalyptic universe that's filled with fantastic creatures to discover, dangerous factions to navigate, and colorful worlds to explore with mechs, paragliders, balloons, mounts, jet skis, and more. So that's the kind of basic information that we got when the game was first announced, and the couple of gameplay and cinematic trailers that we saw back in 2018. Now, let's talk about the IGN interview, because they actually spoke directly with the game's creative director, and he gave us a lot of kind of detailed information. The interview started off by asking kind of what they've been up to, and basically he said that this game is huge. It's this massive open world, 8 by 8 kilometers, and they've been working really hard on refining the details of the game while also spending a lot of time doing QA fixes, like narrow in a lot of the features and squash any bugs, and all of this is being done in a fairly small team of only 18 people at the development studio. They then talked a bit about the character customization and showed off this wide swath of options. It's like all these like little tiny mammal slash rodent looking creatures that you can make your character look like. He talked about the game's 6 different tribes and how each of them represent this sort of string of DNA. And as a player, you can morph your character by picking from the tribes and combining these various elements to kind of enhance how you play and the different things you have access to. He also said that your appearance will have a direct effect on your stats. So for example, if you build this buff warrior, you won't have a lot of base intelligence. As you play, you can morph and upgrade your character to get more intelligence or to be better in strength, making you even bigger and stronger. There's also going to be classes to choose from, akin to traditional RPG games, but with a biomutant twist. Like there's these Psy-Freaks, he calls them, which are the basic magic users, or Commandos, which are like these Rambo-style character. They talked about the extensive crafting system where you can combine parts to make weapons. As an example, he said, like, you might find this giant toothbrush and then you stick a handle on it, add a couple of spiky bits, and then all of a sudden you've got yourself essentially this club melee weapon. There's millions of combinations apparently. There will be rarities as well as unique abilities for some of the parts that you find in the world. Gear is also craftable, things like your shoulders and your helmets, and you're going to need to use that to combat the game's elements. Like if there's a really cold environment, you're going to need to construct yourself a warm jacket, or you might need an oxygen mask for any of the dead zones in the game. Touched a bit on the world itself. At the center of BioMutant is this tree of life, and the kind of narrative revolves around the fact that it's dying and you have to try to save it. There are these 4 massive roots that will be spreading in each direction, and at the end of each of those roots is this giant world eater boss that you have to defeat in order to, I guess, revitalize that part of the tree. Now, the interviewer then talked a bit about what some of the inspirations were in the creation of BioMutant, and he said that it draws from a lot of different things. General influence coming from things like Kung Fu Panda or the Ratchet and Clank series. They took a lot of inspiration from many of the open world games out there, and the combat in particular, he said, is really heavily inspired by things like Devil May Cry or the Arkham series, this kind of dynamic action combat. And then finally, they wrapped up the interview by asking about the release date, and his response was that they're in the end phase of development. They're working through a lot of the technical issues, squashing bugs, working on balance, and streamlining the game by adding tutorials and just making a better user experience. But there's no release date because they do not want to fall into the trap again of saying the game's coming out in 2020 and then not delivering, because they've already done that 2 years in a row. So that was basically, that's essentially a synopsis of the interview. A lot of really cool details and information there. But then on top of that, we also have the gameplay trailer, and we saw a ton of wicked cool stuff in this. We got some panoramic shots of the world of BioMutant. We got a look at mounts, a day-night cycle, as well as changing weather effects. Saw a lot of shots of these giant boss creatures like this mutant rabbit, this ogre, furry rhino, this crab thing. I think this one's a frog. The creatures look so funky in this game, but it's cool because it really gives it a pretty unique style. Speaking of style and different creatures, we also got a pretty good look at a lot of the different potential character combinations between your own character that you're making, as well as just the types of NPCs that you're gonna see in the world. There were various parts of the trailer that showed off combat. It wasn't like legit gameplay in the sense that we're seeing from the character's perspective with the full UI. Cinematic shots of combat in action, but still it's getting a look of kind of the feel of the combat. We saw some outpost clearing, which is going to be, anyone who plays open world games is familiar with clearing outposts. We got to see some of the transports and vehicles in the game, the weapon crafting system, where again you combine these various elements like a handle and a grip and then the main body of a weapon. We got to see some of the world traversal through like rock climbing and this paragliding, a ton of different of the game's NPCs and the various factions. We saw some things that look like world events taking place, some underwater locations. We also got to look at some of those massive, what are called world eater bosses, and these are kind of the major progress points from what I can tell. Those creatures that you have to defeat at the end of each of the Tree of Life's routes, and evidently in a lot of these boss fights you can use these special vehicles that you unlock to help you defeat them. This is pretty damn cool looking. Like again, I remember learning about this game in 2017 and talking and researching a bit about it in 2018 and being genuinely excited. Now, overall, I think there's a ton of potential here. Like, I like the look of the game and the style. I like this Kung Fu Panda inspired world. It seems like there's a lot of freedom between character customization, the types of weapons and gear that you're using, all this huge variety of NPCs that you'll be fighting. Evidently, the combat is, again, really fluid and dynamic as well, with this combination of like these combo attacks and all of these different mutations that you can make your character that will affect how you engage in combat. Now, with all of that said, there's like a clear lack of polish, like between some of the character designs and the animations of like the boss fights that we saw in the trailer. There's a little bit of that jankiness to it, but I think that is unquestionably due to the fact that this is an ambitious game being designed by a relatively small team. In that interview, again, he said that it's an 18-person team working on this game. So I guess with that in mind, it's not surprising that it's been taking so long. It's not surprising that they've been pushing back their release dates. Obviously, they need it. And again, they've been continuing to work on this, and hopefully we get it later this year. It'd be really nice to get this thing in 2020, because I think, especially like with the look of the game, you just don't want it to feel too dated by the time it comes out, and I think they are running this risk here. However, I really just think this game has a lot of potential when it comes down to it. Like, this could really be one of those cult classic kinds of things. I know it's early to be saying something like that. I haven't played it personally. We have only seen these various trailers over the years, but everything that they're talking about and the setup for this game, as long as it doesn't run like complete garbage or play like complete garbage, I think people can see past a little bit of jankiness if the overall experience is enjoyable. We still don't know when we're going to see this game, but it'll be coming out on the consoles as well as PC, so we assume next gen Xbox and PlayStation. Anyway, there you go. That's the big BioMutant update for 2020. Lots of cool new stuff here, and I assume that we'll be seeing some more things. Hopefully it doesn't take another 6 months and them saying, hey guys, maybe in 2021. But we'll see. Who knows? The way the track record's been going so far, that is clearly a possibility. But good luck, BioMutant. Hope you guys deliver. And yeah, good luck. Make a good game. Go do it. Go on.